Azeroth is home to many fantastical places and monuments, some familiar and others only seen by few. In this series, I've documented dozens of wonders found across the world, but now it's time to look beyond. The Dark Portal shepherds players into Outland, the broken remains of the planet Draenor. Not all is lost, however, and there are many fascinating locations to explore and conquer as the Horde and Alliance move across this new landscape. Today, we're taking a look at 7 wonders of Outland that capture the variety of landscapes and cultures found there. As always, thank you so much for your fun comments and support, and with all that being said, let's get right into it. What better place to begin our journey than the Dark Portal itself, a great gate connecting Outland to Azeroth through the Twisting Nether. This was how the corrupted orcs first crossed into the human world many years ago, guided by the Guardian Medivh, who opened the portal on the Azeroth side under the influence of the Dark Titan Sargeras. Through the trials and tribulations of the First and Second Wars, the Dark Portal was eventually broken during the destruction of Draenor, sealing off the world for over 15 years. With the launch of the Burning Crusade expansion, the Demons of the Burning Legion reopened the portal in the hopes of conquering Azeroth once again. Forces of both factions fight against a flood of demons on the Stair of Destiny just inside the Hellfire Peninsula, an alien reflection of the Blasted Lands even more warped from fell energies. The stone framework of the gate is very impressive, showcasing a variety of carved figures including a dragon, 2 hooded swordsmen, and even some panels that share a striking resemblance with Zerglings from the StarCraft franchise. I think one really cool detail can be found if you visit the portal on the backside. Compared to the view of the Nether at the top of the stairs, this side is more transparent, and you get a great view of the peninsula presented through the archway. The Dark Portal is perhaps the most integral spot of WoW's first expansion, and the entire reason it happens the way it does. And it sure does give players an awe-inspiring introduction to the continent. In the central lowlands of Outland, known as Zangarmarsh, ecosystems have been thrown out of balance. Since the destruction of Draenor, the Zangar Sea has undergone a rapid transformation, the seafloor desiccating into murky bogs, and more recently, dry land. This process has been accelerated by the Naga, amphibious servants of Illidan Stormrage, who are now pumping away the water for their own schemes. The water is now being collected underneath Serpent Lake within the twisted passages of Coilfang Reservoir. The top of the major pumping station peaks above the lake, siphoning away a precious resource from the native flora and fauna. Below ground, 4 expansive wings serve to collect water and energy for Lady Vashj and her minions. Pipes, pools, and platforms all interconnect among glowing crystals to create an aquatic, steam-powered dominion like no other, and it seems like this stronghold could serve multiple purposes. Not only will the reservoir be used to subjugate the rest of Outland with its monopoly on water, but there's also a theory floating around that Lady Vashj and her Naga wish to create a new Well of Eternity to increase their power tenfold. Coilfang Reservoir is a testament to the resilience and adaptability of the Naga, and despite being the villains of this zone, they were definitely well on their way to establishing a new empire within the heart of Zangarmarsh, at least until you stop them. If you've traveled through the majestic Terokkar forest, it may have been a shock to discover what awaits in the southern region of the zone. The taro trees suddenly disappear to reveal the Bone Wastes, a circular area of dead foliage, ashen dunes, and yes, bones. At its center, Auchendoun, or as we probably all used to call it as kids, Auchendown, rises up above the sand, a massive cracked dome surrounded by debris. This was once the spiritual center of Draenei society, where rituals were performed and the dead were interred. During the war on Draenor between the fell-cursed orcs and the Draenei, orcish warlocks sought to cripple resistance here by summoning a demon from the Twisting Nether, but accidentally summoned something much worse. Murmur, a cosmic elemental of sound, blasted its way into reality and destroyed all of Auchendoun, warping reality in the process and releasing the spirits of the dead. Discovering this wrecked temple in the Burning Crusade, players can now find a variety of forces struggling to maintain control here. the Burning Legion, the Shadow Council, Ethereals, and others. Cleansing the four wings of the temple brings some resolution, but Auchindoun still remains as one of the greatest casualties of a war long ago, now lost to dark powers and the elements. The rolling green plains of Nagrand are, for the most part, tranquil and uninterrupted, but one feature in particular towers above the grassy fields, Oshu-gun. This crystal mountain, known as the Mountain of Spirits to the ancient orcs, is the centerpiece of southern Nagrand, surrounded by inscriptions carefully crafted on the ground. If it wasn't already clear that this was not a natural feature of the land, questing in this zone reveals the secret behind this mountain. It is actually the remains of a dimensional ship like the Exodar that crash-landed on Draenor hundreds of years ago. The Draenei are not natives of Outland, originally escaping the Burning Legion on this ship from their home planet of Argus. With the Legion now arriving on Outland, their agents have infiltrated the mountain, a holy site for the orcs, and have captured the Naru Cure. With your arrival, hopefully the disturbed orc spirits and the Naru they follow can return to peace. The Blade's Edge Mountains can be summarized as a single word: barbaric. Ogres, raptors, and towering Gron call this place home and fiercely defend their territory from outsiders. This brute strength is on display in the heart of the mountains, especially at Dragon's End, where black dragons have been impaled on the rocky spikes. Years ago, during the Second War, Deathwing traveled to Outland to find a new home for his flight, but instead brought his kin to slaughter. The leader of the Gron, Gruul, even earned the name Dragon Killer for these feats, and now only a few scattered followers remain here loyal to the Black Flight. Just above the massive canyon, the Worm Skull Bridge continues with this theme, and even features a massive dragon head suspended from chains. The advantage of flight doesn't hold sway here, and the Gron have asserted their dominance even above dragonkind. It seems fitting the Circle of Blood is found in the center of the valley, a brutal fighting pit surrounded by carnage. Blade's Edge Mountains might not be the best zone in Outland, but the ogre-themed areas really hit the mark, and traveling down here without a flying mount really gives you a great sense of its scale. Netherstorm is perhaps the most damaged of all the zones found in Outland. Barely surviving the destruction of Draenor, the arcane woods of Farallon were warped beyond recognition and later exposed to further damage from the mana forges of the Blood Elves. Only a few scattered pockets of land have been saved, captured inside vast bubbles known as ecodomes. The ethereal traders of the Nether were able to construct 4 magical domes around various spots in Farallon before the landscape was corrupted, preserving the native plants and animals. Inside one of these domes, a Draenei town, the Stormspire, can be found atop a mountain ridge, but it's now run by ethereals. Standing inside here feels like you're on a totally different planet, and I think it's really cool that you can visit one of the few remnants of the original Draenor in the Burning Crusade expansion. Shadowmoon Valley, our last stop on today's journey. It should come as no surprise that one of the most significant regions of this zone is the Black Temple, formerly known as the Holy Temple of Karabor. Similar to Auchindoun, the Draenei once considered this one of their most sacred spaces, but it was overrun by the orcish warlocks of the Shadow Council during their conflict. Soon after, the Pit Lord Magtheridon was summoned to Outland and assumed control of all Legion forces here, but his reign did not last. Illidan Stormrage escaped Azeroth after the end of the Third War, deposing Magtheridon and becoming the new Lord of Outland. Though the Illidari fight against the Legion, their means of doing so have resulted in destruction and subjugation of many beings. The Black Temple is Illidan's citadel, a stronghold of evil where dark experiments are performed, and the Ash-Tongue Broken, once warriors and priests in the temple's favor, now grovel as servants. Though the environment is dreary, players can picture the temple in its prime, with vast walkways, halls, and gardens leading to a grand summit of worship. Now, that summit is tainted, but looking up reveals one patch of light, a view of Azeroth far off in space. This isn't actually where the planet is at, and it's more of a projection, a lens through which Illidan looks back at his home, and perhaps Tyrande, his love. Even far away in Outland, it seems some of these wonders lead us back to Azeroth. Thank you all so much for watching. I want to give a special shout out to my 2 Jediwarlock sightings for this month. I always like interacting with you all in game, even if it's just a piece of mail or a quick message. Until next time, may the Force be with you.